Hari Om. We'll just start with prayer. Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरं. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम. हरि ओम. Hari Om. Am I audible now? Yeah? Okay, fine. Can Abhish, can you share the screen? Yeah. So today we will, continuing with our sadhana theme, we are going to look at a few sadhanas which are essential for a sadhaka, right? So last week we saw about the bhakti marga, right? How bhakti is so essential that, even if we are going into deep jnana, right? But sometimes it becomes dry as in we need, as human beings who are all the time looking for something new, something which will keep the mind entertained. What is that one thing that goes missing if we go too much into what is the jnana aspect, what is, to be arrived at with a lot of deep thinking, with a lot of what you would say is a lot of intellection, but somewhere the heart is missing, and therefore the bhakti has to come in to take our minds to that higher plane, where there is that motivation, there is that rising up to that higher, which will make us go essentially deeper into this jnana to identify with that self, which is me itself, but which I have not yet thought of me myself as, right? So there comes in the bhakti marga, right? And now when we are essentially looking at sadhana, what do we point at as this is the one for me, right? So there is of course the bahiranga sadhana, where one can take to any of the secondary means. It is said to be secondary means because it is that which will pull me to the primary, right? The primary being antaranga sadhana, which is shravana manana nididhyasana. So the external means or the secondary means that we say, those are bhakti, karma, ashtanga, japa, tapa, tirtha, right? All these, though we are calling them secondary, always know that they are those steps which are always going to move us to that highway, that one highway which is going to lead to our destination. So it is not that, I have gone astray somewhere. No, these are going to be the means to take me onto the right path of jnana, right? So therefore these are as essential as that of the jnana marga, right? And these are that which will keep me on that jnana marga. But then again, which is the one for me? What is that which is essential in this, right? So when we question in that way, because many come up and they say that, japa is fine, but japa, will it lead me to meditation? Or japa, isn't it just in terms of, keeping my mind focused? So how is it going to bring me or keep me on that essential knowledge or abundance in the knowledge? How is it going to do that? So in terms of this, Gurudev had, given three cornerstones of sadhana that we can practice, and the these are three levels, right? These are also the cornerstones of this Hinduism itself, this culture that we are following. This is what we call as religion, or we call of as way of life, right? So this, in essence, is covered through these three principles. What are these three principles? That is brahmacharya, ahimsa, and satyam. So at the body level, it is brahmacharya. At the mind level or at the mental energy level, it is the ahimsa. And at the intellect level, where the decision making is happening, where the conviction lies, where the knowledge or understanding or the wisdom arises, there the satyam aspect comes in, right? So these are the three essentials which have been laid down by the rishis of the yore, right? And in many ways, even in whatever discourses, Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji, he would also talk of these, right? So when we are saying brahmacharya, how are we going to go about this brahmacharya? Is it only celibacy? When we say, again, here we are saying at the body level, or we are saying at the physical level, that is where this brahmacharya comes in. But is it only that? And how do I go about it? Or how important is it? Right? So here, one very sweet anecdote of Gurudev comes in, where, he was saying that he was with a group of chicks, right? And, he was having this contact diary with him. But somehow the person who was handling it had misplaced it. And, then everyone was like, oh, what is going to happen? Gurudev used to write, hundreds of letters. In a day, minimum 75 letters he would write. In a day, every day. That was one of the sadhanas for him also, to answer the queries and the dilemmas of all his sadhakas, right? All the sadhakas everywhere across the globe. So here now, without the contact diary, what is going to happen? So in that way, Gurudev, completely nonplussed, told the person to sit down, and he started dictating to him, contact after contact, the address down to the pin code itself, right? So he was able to do this, and this chick who was bystanding and watching it, he was totally, amazed at this. And then at another occasion, the same chick who was at that time when Parindra Kadakia ji, at that time, he saw that at another occasion, one person whom Gurudev had that seen only one time. He had met him only one time, and he met Gurudev after a few years. And Gurudev was just like that, able to recall his name, and asked him, started the conversation where he had left off at the last instance when they had met. So again, this chick at that time, Parindraji, he was amazed, and he asked Gurudev, what is the secret, to achieve this kind of memory that you are having? So then Gurudev just in one word told him, it is brahmacharya, right? So it is brahmacharya. So what is brahmacharya? Brahmacharya is not just celibacy, but brahmani charati iti brahmacharya, right? Who is a brahmachari? One who is ever reveling in Brahman, right? So this is definitely one essential practice that each of us can, adhere to. When I am just by myself, what are the thoughts that I am entertaining? Is my mind always going externally? Because that is what is the preoccupation of the mind. The senses, as such, they do run outside. They do run amok. Be it, be it the new things or objects or things or space or places that one sees, or some information that one comes across, the mind is always going outward. But what am I doing to curb the mind in that way? So when we say, at the physical level, it does not mean only the body and the senses, but also that mind which is regulating those, right? As is given in the example of the chariot, you have the 5 horses, the 5 senses. The 5 senses are ever moving or trying to go out to their field of preoccupation, right? And who is holding them in control? It is the mind, right? So if this mind is not in control, then the sense objects or the vishayas, they are going to take control of this jiva, right? This jiva who is now having gained, this mumukshutva, or a taste of that mumukshutva, is wanting to go towards that Brahman, that self, that essential nature of my own, which is centered in itself. So it doesn't have any other, Brahman doesn't need, or Atman doesn't need to have any kind of control, because it just is. There is no changes in it. But who needs to have that control? It is the jiva. It is this jiva who is bound by the body, mind, in terms of this world, in this jagata, right? So this indriya nigraha that we are speaking of, or what we say as sense management, in whose hand is it? It is in our own hands. And how do we go about it? Simple is that now that we have done Shravana, now that we have done Manana, then to keep ourselves in that knowledge, what is essential? That we keep bringing that mind, bringing that control over the senses through self-discipline, or discipline on the mind and the senses. When to go where? It also does not mean ki, I take to complete sannyas, go and sit in a solitary place at all times, and I keep myself away from all these objects. No. Is that going to work? That is not going to work, because the mind will fight and try to go out to those objects, right? Because now, even if you are sitting on top of a peak, you might catch hold of your phone and order a pizza, right? So that could happen also. So what is important is that we sublimate that energy, sublimate that urge to go outward, right? And that is what is brahmacharya. It is not that, I abstain from everything. No. What I have to do is, one, bring in the discipline slowly and gradually through moderation, right? And two, then see what is essential. What do I need? Is it a comfort or is it a need? If it is a comfort, right? Or if it's a want, if it is a desire which will give rise to more desires, then what do? I bring it in control and say that this is not required, this is not essential, and stick to the essential alone, right? So, as Gurudev said, be careful by self-policing, detect the wrong tendencies in yourself, eliminate them through constant and willful effort, develop positivity, and thus come to be the God of your own future life. So this is very, very, very well defined by Gurudev, that, this is how we go about bringing that discipline into our lives. So what is the result of this? What happens through brahmacharya? So be it, be it an athlete who is practicing, say, to win that gold medal. For him too, that discipline comes in, right? Be it waking early, be it sticking to the regular diet, be it sleeping on time, be it the right amount of study, right? So all these kind of disciplines are in terms of sense management itself. So when I don't do that which is going to take me outward, right? That which is all the time pulling me outward, multiplying my desires, then what do? I am conserving my own vitality, right? Then so too, having conserved that energy, I can channelize it into the right kind of effort to go towards that essential goal that I am moving towards, right? Then my goal doesn't become something distant from me. Then with each practice that I do, each abhyasa that I do, it comes closer and closer to me, right? So here moderation should not become an excuse for me to indulge. That is also important. That you say that, okay, no, I eat moderately, I do this, I don't really go fully out and enjoy everything. No, that is also not it. With the excuse of moderation, I need not always, indulge myself. But when the right point has come to me and I'm able to say no, right? If it is with, if that particular enjoyment is available to me, and yet I am able to say no, it's okay, I don't require it right now, then that is the discipline that one is adhering to. So too, if something is not available, it doesn't throw me into agitation, right? I am able to do without it also, right? So, thankfully for us, we are at a time when, at the click of a button, we are getting whatever we need, right? Be it comfort at home or during our travel even, right? But there were times when, uh, these kind of comforts, even travel itself was arduous, right? Like Adi Shankaracharya at the age of 8, he moved out of his home to find his guru, right? He didn't even know the exact address. There was no navigation tool even, right? But he was able to walk and go towards that place, from the southern tip of India to Madhya Bhaga at Omkareshwar. There he could travel for this knowledge. He was not satisfied that, he had mastered the Vedas at age 8. No, he wanted that higher knowledge. And he said that is essential for me, not any comfort of being at home, of, even cajoling my mother, saying that, no, Amma, yeah, I am your only child, so I will be here safe with you. No, he went out because his primary aim was to gain the knowledge. So to Gurudev, when it came to knowing that higher truth, when Shivananji Maharaj told him that he has to go and stay up in the Himalayas at Uttarkashi with Taponji Maharaj, he was able to make that journey thrice over and live that arduous life also, where there was no bed, there was no food even proper, right? But what was the calling? The calling was always to attain that higher knowledge, and therefore he could make it. So when we have that kind of faith, Shraddha, to go towards that goal, then all these practices, they become simple. They don't become arduous, right? So too for us, we have to point out what is it that is keeping us from doing our sadhana And in that way, practice this brahmacharya. Saying no to that which is going to take me away from my knowledge or indulge me in many more desires. That is what I have to curb. It is not just about fasting, etc. It is more about where is my mind straying away and how do I rope it in. That is the essential sadhana in terms of brahmacharya that we have to adhere to, right? So the next one is ahimsa, right? Which is said to be non-violence, right? In especially in our country, all over the world, people know India for this ahimsa, right? Which was much more made popular by even our Mahatma Gandhi ji, right? But when we say non-violence, what exactly is being conveyed here? Is it only at the action level, right? Or what exactly is it? Does it mean that if I'm a doctor, I should not use a knife? Or if I'm a soldier, I should not use the gun? No, that is not what this non injury is. This ahimsa is at the level of my intention itself, the motive behind my action. And what does it exhibit? It essentially exhibits my relationship with others, right? So, when it comes to a sadhaka, what is the relationship that he or she retains with the world? It is that of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that of this oneness, right? That oneness which is me, that oneness which is essentially residing in this jiva, and so too in all other jivas, be it, whichever being that is there in this world, right? That is part of this creation. It is me alone. So this essential knowledge should percolate into not just my actions, but also into my thought. Through my thoughts alone, it will go out in the world in terms of my actions, right? So this motive or this intent, how do I practice it? So then, as part of my duty, if I am a surgeon, yes, then using that knife is essential. It is part of my dharma. So I should not really go away from it saying that this is going to cause an injury. No, because that intent when I'm using that knife is in terms of healing that person, not in terms of causing any kind of injury, right? So too, as a soldier, when I hold the gun, then that gun is in defense of my country. That gun is in place for me to use when someone is attacking my country or putting it in danger, right? So there, what is again essentially that attitude to be retained is that of my dharma towards my calling or towards that higher calling also, right? So too, when I look at all people around me, what should then be my thinking or my thought? So in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that who is a bhakta? The one who is a maitra, who has a karuna, right? So that is an essential part of the bhakta, of being a bhakta, because he sees that oneness of the Lord, or that instilling of the spirit of that oneness in seeing that essential power of the Lord in everyone, in all beings. So if I am causing an injury to some other being, right? That other is not other, but that other is as same as this body itself. So should I inflict that pain on another? No. So at thought level itself, be it, causing hurt through my words, that is through speech, be it causing harm bodily, right? all of these have to be abstained from. Abstain from in the sense, at the thought level itself, I should be saying that this is incorrect. I should not be hurting that person. So what should I do then? Then when even if there is some amount of pain that has to be caused by the words, then it has to be done gently, right? Because the intent is not to hurt the person. The intent is more for the good of that person, right? So therefore, I should be clear in terms of what are my motives. Because why is it only for the other person? No, it is for me myself also, right? As this jiva who is, who is interdependent, who is living in this world, if I am causing harm to anyone, any being, that agitation is going to stay with me. That agitation at my mind level is going to keep me from being my essential self, right? Because when am I peaceful? I am peaceful, or I am at my own reality when there is no agitation at my mind level. So if I am causing an injury, I am causing hurt, then who am I hurting? I am hurting myself alone. So this thought should be brought into practice, right? So mainly it is not that I'm going to take a knife or a danda and beat people up. So I'm not doing that kind of thing in my life. So therefore I don't need to practice ahimsa, non-injury. No, that is not what we are speaking of here. Again, what we are speaking of is not hurting, not causing injury at a mental level, at a mind plane to anyone around him. And it could be my own siblings, it could be my own parents, it could be my own spouse, my friends, right? So even if I do fall, I have the chance to rise up. That also should be in my mind, right? So therefore, ahimsa is that attitude of keeping my my atmosphere clear of any kind of injury, any kind of hurt that will cause agitation to me. So that purity will come only when I adhere to this ahimsa at the mind level, right? Because we have to know when we are moving towards karma yoga, what is essential. When we are moving towards karma yoga, we are essentially moving towards chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi or purity, when will it come? When I stop causing agitations to myself. And that will come about through my transactions with the world. How clear I am with them, how transparent I am with them. Right? Now, the next part is satyam. Satyam or truthfulness or honesty, right? As children, these are the kind of values we learn in the school, in moral science class. Speak the truth, do not lie, right? But here you would say that I am a sadhaka, I have come to this stage. Where is this satyam going to come in, right? And how is it going to help me? And how is it connected at the intellect level? So this satyam or this truthfulness is to myself, right? Because having done Shravana, having done Manana, now when I am trying to abide in this knowledge, how true am I being to myself? How true am I being to my conviction, right? So when it comes to, we have done Shravana, we have done Manana, I have clarity in knowledge, right? But now that I'm trying to abide in that knowledge, what is happening? All these erroneous notions of having been a jiva over lifetimes, they come as pinpricks to me, right? And they tell me that, but you are essentially a jiva, you are essentially limited. When you look around you, this world is changing. So how are you going to be that changeless self? So here here again comes this essential sadhana to be true to that knowledge that I have gained, right? And that to convert it into my wisdom, into my understanding, I have to abide in that conviction. I have to be truthful to that conviction and say no to those thoughts that are coming to me saying that no, you are essentially a jiva, right? So unless I am truthful to that knowledge, unless I have shraddha in that knowledge of the scriptures which has come through me to me through my guru, I will not be able to, stabilize myself or gain that wisdom completely, right? That is going to be the block and between me who has been the deluded self and me who is that Brahman, that infinite, that Nitya, Nirakara, Nirguna, Sat Chit Ananda, which is me, which is untainted, which has has no struggle like this jiva has. Like this jiva is right now struggling, right, to fight against my own niggling doubts, right? So, what then I have to do is I have to strongly convince myself that this is the truth, and right now I am not able to see it because I have put this veiling between me and this knowledge, right? So, therefore, here comes this satyam, right? So, what I have to essentially tell myself or affirm to myself is that I do have Shraddha, right? Shraddha at what levels? Shraddha is one at the Shastra level, right? Or rather, first to begin with, Shraddha at the Ishvara level. Faith that Ishvara is. He is that one who is ever prevalent, even when I am unaware of this Ishvara or this Paramatman and this Atman being the same, still ever this Ishvara was, and all that I had to do was to call out to him, right? So there comes that belief, that faith in that which I cannot see, right? Thereafter, having done Shravana, right? Then comes the awareness of this knowledge, right? That there is that infinite self, and that self is me. And who is giving me this knowledge? That pramana is giving me that knowledge, right? That shabda pramana from the shastra, from the scriptures, which is come to me through a jnani guru, who is himself shrotriya brahmanishtha, right? So I have to have shraddha in the words of that guru, right? And having that shraddha is what? That is going to give me that conviction, that much needed conviction. Of course, that is not, not saying that, I should not question what is being told to me, but having that shraddha in that guru or having that shraddha in that scriptures, I know that this goal is not unattainable. This goal is very much in my reach. All I have to do is use the right kind of thinking, right? So that comes the Shraddha over there. Then next comes Shraddha in myself, right? And this Shraddha in myself is going to pull me through all situations and make me go towards my goal, right? And for that, I need to have conviction. So that conviction in the truth is going to come at my intellect level when I am convinced of the truth, right? So here is this satyam, truthfulness. So we said 3 principles of sadhana. One is what? One is the brahmacharya at the body level. Next is ahimsa at the mind level. And 3 is satyam at the intellect level. right? Now, how do I go about these practices? Is it enough that I do it for, certain periods of time? Or is it to be done, at the time or prior to Shravana Manana? Or is it to be done, phased out manner? How do I go about it? So here, very clearly, one beautiful shloka which is given by Patanjali Ved Guru is that Satu Dirgha Kala Nairantarya Satkara Asevita Dudabhumihi. Okay. So, Satu, Dirgha Kala. Dirgha Kala means it is not to be done for short periods of time, but it has to be done over long duration. It is not that I do it for a month and it is done. No. It is not that, I pay the fee for going to the gym and I'll do it for 1 year. They have given me a discount and this, that. Yes. So I will go for a year to the gym, then I will stop, then I will do some other practice. No. Here it has to be continuous. Prior to gain stability in my Shravana, after gaining also, when I am contemplating, trying to clear my doubts in Manana also, right? And thereafter also, when I am going into Nidhi Dhyasana, there too, I have to practice these sadhanas, right? And this is going to give me that much needed boost, that much needed mileage to go steadily on the path to reach that ultimate, right? So continuous, nairantarya without any gap. I'm going on the highway and, in between I saw that, different, even my navigation tool is telling me there's a fueling station, next to it there's a good food mall, and there are some added attractions on the way. No detours, no gaps. You have to continuously, we have to practice this. So there has to be nairantarya without any gap for long duration. Satkara. What is satkara? So here, what is essentially told is that Shraddha part of it, that devotion part of it, giving that reverence to that goal. And also, so too for that practice even. Okay. So that when I am, making that small excuse of not doing what I should be doing, then I should be able to say no to those small pleasures that I indulge in, right? So this satkar or this devotion is necessary to keep me on this path, right? To keep me to that discipline, right? It is like that coach whom we have, when we are getting into any kind of fitness routine, if you have this coach or this mentor, what happens? He's the one who will keep you on track. So this satkara, this devotion that I develop, this is going to, keep me at it at all times, right? Which will not make me give into small excuses, right? And what will be as a result, what will happen? Asevitaha drudha bhumihi. Then this is going to result in this kind of practice is going to make me develop that vasana for this jnana, right? That jnana vasana is going to develop only through this dirghakala nairantarya satkara, right? These three are going to keep me on that path and make me develop that vasana which is going to then firmly keep me rooted in that knowledge of Brahmakara Vritti. For that Brahmakara Vritti to arise in me, right? What is essential? Okay, I have done Shravana, right? I have done Manana. I have to supplement, I have done Japa also. And I keep saying, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Is that going to develop that Vasana? No, not unless I have been at it continuously without any gaps and able to abide in it without any kind of other triggers. When I sit down in meditation, that thought just arises in me. That is, a sign of of this Brahmakara vritti, Vasana, slowly coming into my system. Right? Right now, I am shrouded by this Vasana of being this Deha, being this Jiva, who has this name, who has this form. But now that I know through Shravana, what do I know? That I am that Nirakara, Nitya, Brahma, Satchidananda. Right? I need no happiness from outside. I am happiness. Right? So for that thought to arise whenever I am looking at something, whenever even I need not even sit down in meditation. When I look at something or someone, I see it as his creation alone. And when I say it is his creation, I also know that I am no different from that Brahman, that infinite. Right? So for that Vasana to develop, these practices are essential. Right? And so for this to happen, what then is necessary? That, I have this reverence, I have this devotion. Right? So how do I do it? Is it that when we say devotion or when we say bhakti, is it that, I sit in one place, I do the puja, right? So that is a very beautiful practice, where I am fully inward, bodily, through mind, through my vacha, right? Through my intellect also, natamastaka, bowing down to that Lord. Daily I do this practice. I offer different flowers to Bhagwan. I even choose that particular flower of that particular color of that particular form, which they say is something that I offer to this Lord Ganesha, to this Lord Shiva. Right? But what is that essential flower that the Lord is looking for? So there's this beautiful shloka which we came across, which says, Ahimsa prathamam pushpam, pushpam indriya nigraha, sarvabhuta yatha pushpam, sarva bhuta daya pushpam, sarva bhuta daya pushpam, shama pushpam visheshataha. ज्ञान पुष्पम तपः पुष्पम शांति पुष्पम तथैव च सत्यम 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 दुष्टम सत्यम अष्टविधम पुष्पम विष्णु प्रीतिकरम भवेत. So what is that which is very dear to Lord Vishnu? Vishnu Preetikaram Bhavet. Kim another. So what is that? That is these flowers. These flowers or these petals. Which are these? First is ahimsa. Then is the indriya nigraha, which is nothing but sense management. Then is the daya, compassion to all beings. Right? Then is shama. Shama is not just forgiveness, but shama is also that control over my own thoughts and desires. Jnana pushpam. So this knowledge, not just the knowledge, not just listening to that knowledge, but abiding in that knowledge, living the learnings. That is something which is the most dearest offering to the Lord. Then what? Then is the tapaha. What is the tapaha? Tapaha is that I abide only in that self without letting my mind go externally, to repeatedly go into that knowledge alone, that jnana alone, in order to gain that nishtha, in order to gain that conviction, in order to make it that jnana vasana. What is essential? This tapa pushpam is essential. Then what happens as a result? Of course, there is going to be shanti, there is going to be peace. So if I am not having any agitations and my mind is peaceful, that is one offering also to the Lord. I don't have to search somewhere outside for that beautiful flower and make sure that it is that flower which is appealing to that Lord. That these flowers, if I develop in myself, in this jiva, what will happen? Then I am able to give it, offer it to the Lord, right? Then there is the peace. There is, of course, the Satyam. The eighth one, the eighth flower, Satyam Ashtavidam Pushpam. That eighth flower is that of Satyam, right? So that is going to give the happiness to that benevolent Lord Vishnu, right? So also, does the Lord need happiness? No, but that Lord becomes prasanna on us, right? Then that Lord itself sees that jnana nishtha in us, sees that bhakti in us, in that devotion in us, and knows that through my entire being, I am channelizing all my energies to realizing that truth which has come to me, right? So, what is the flower that I offer? These are the 8 flower offerings that we can offer to the Lord. So, that satkara, that devotion part is essential in all my sadhanas, right? Which will keep me or make me that integrated being in thought, word, and deed, right? So this is what is the essential sadhana that we can all take up slowly but surely, keeping track, observing of ourselves, you know, in what way is my energy getting dissipated, where are my thoughts taking me astray, how do I curb this kind of thinking, what are the practices at physical level that I can take to, that keeps me balanced, that does keeps me from going out, essentially, that keeps me moving inward, essentially, at mind level. What is it that will stop any kind of agitation, that will keep me at that level of ahimsa? So too, what is it that will keep me abide in that satyam? Only when I identify with that, then I will be that, right? So to be the big, I have to think that big also, right? So these are the essential sadhana. We will close this question, this talk here. But I would like to ask you all: do you have any questions? If not, then I will play this video of Gurudev. Right, 1 second. Sorry. Can you play the video? Yeah, there is some question. 1 second. Yeah. Can you show me the question, Abhish? Yeah. Yes, the recording will be shared. The recording will be shared. Now we'll play this video. Also, while we are at it, we are starting the advanced Vedanta course, which is going to be mentor driven, as in that we'll have weekly sessions with summarization of each lesson, as well as we will also have Q&A. So those who are interested can join in for those sessions. So too, we have Easy Sanskrit level 2. We have sent mailers also. in about the forthcoming camps that are going to happen at SIF, do connect with us with the home study department, right? Yes.
So jnana means the mind and intellect that has been rigged properly to take off in contemplation. So all of a sudden if you come and say, Swamiji, let us meditate together, I have no objection, you sitting down and meditating. But you are a piece of furniture in the room, that is all. You don't move anywhere. I go where I want to go. Why is it that one is able to rise in contemplation, the other is always a failure? Because he has not tuned up the instrument. Twice or thrice it has happened that a rocket was brought to the seashore, and the world, from all over the world, the newspaper people and others had come there and arranged it, NASA brought it, and on a certain day it has been fixed up at the right time, and it was brought out. Photos were taken, click, 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 click. Countdown has started, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi! Such a massive light and illumination of the blast came. There was a plumule or a flower or a, what do you call that, a whirl of beautiful smoke curled up. Ha ha! A blossom, cloudy blossom came up, and everything you saw, the whole thing was smoky. And when the smoke has moved in the northeasterly wind, what did you see? The rocket in its base, standing and slightly moving. It did not leave. What can NASA do? Announce that we will try it again next month, 23rd. Drive it back again to the factory. Why is it not blasted? Why did it not rise up? Some adjustment, somewhere. A screw is loose, or a nut is not tightened. Some mistake is there. They have to diagnose, find out what is the mistake, and remake it, and get ready, and bring it back again, isn't it? All of us, when we sit down for meditation, Om, 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 Hail Christ, Hail Christ. When you wake up, you are just there with some smoke all around us. You don't go up, your mind doesn't go up. Why? It is not being purified. In order to purify it, these and those who have practiced it for some time, their mind gets that upthrust which is necessary to rocket it into higher climes of subtler states of consciousness. It is this that takes time. To know your own self, it doesn't take any time because it is you yourself. How far is the waker from the dreamer? So far is the reality from you. The dreamer himself is a waker. Only it's a question of realizing. But that realization cannot come unless you unhook the mind's clinging attachment to the world of OET. That is to be trained. So this tapas or penance, practice, sadhana are all for purification of the mind. When once the mind is purified, to realize the truth is an effortless thing. Why? You yourself even know that reality only that you are not understood. You are the spirit, but identified with the matter, you are a bundle, Kshetra and Kshetrajna together, and therefore you are a Kshetrajna. You don't know what is the Jnapti Matra, the pure consciousness. So then, When these have been lived for some time, the teacher feels that now Arjuna is fit for at least intellectually grasping what I am talking, or the nature of that reality. And if I give the indication necessary, he will be able to turn his mind and intellect in that direction and steadily keep it on, so that the mind awakes to the higher state of consciousness.
Okay. So with that, we close today's session. And we will have a similar session next month, end of the month, last Sunday. Okay. Do write to us. Do let us know if there is some specific topic that you would like to be addressed. Right? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om. Thank you.